right. Want to thank everybody for coming and stopping a few minutes and recognizing and celebrating some special people, special things, and special outfits. I think Sheila looks great today, don't y'all? And there's Sheila's sister over here on the right. All right. Well, I do whatever Sheila tells me. I know that. So well, that's great. Well, thank you for being here. We're going to do our Officer Employees of the Month first, and I'm going to introduce you to our Employee of the Month. I think I know her. Y'all see her a lot. Miss Angela Banks. Would you step right here? It says in July, Officer Angela Banks was waiting in the intersection of Sitco Drive and Harding Place, preparing to make a left-hand turn. Beside her was an unidentified man driving a commercial truck. As the light changed, they both began to turn. She noticed the truck starting to tip over to the left during the turn, and eventually it completely tipped over. She immediately stopped to offer assistance. Another passerby, who happened to be a nurse, also stopped to help. The nurse checked the driver's vitals. Together, they removed him from the cab as they noticed the truck was leaking gas. Miss Banks called 911 and stayed with him until paramedics arrived. While in the back of the ambulance, she handed him his phone and ID. He managed to compose himself and asked Miss Banks, "Please let my mom know I'm on the way to the hospital." To her surprise, his mother and father, both members of the DCSO family. This made her even more pleased to fulfill the request. Miss Banks ensured the mother was notified before leaving the scene. I'm recommending Angela Banks for Officer and Hero of the Month. How about that? There we go. We'll get our picture made first. Okay, hang on one second. I'll give you some more goodies. Here's 8 hours of leave, a free day off, and there's a coin and a ribbon for you as well. So thank you very much. Congratulations to you. Okay, so our Officer of the Month for the month of June 2024, Mr. David Tracey. Will you step right here? In May, Corporal David Tracey took 2 inmates from DDC to dialysis. Upon arrival, one inmate repeatedly assisted in using a specific restroom, which was occupied by a civilian at the time. Corporal Tracey advised the inmate that the hospital staff called his name and he could use the other restroom in the back. While the inmate was undergoing the procedure, Corporal Tracey searched the restroom the inmate wanted to use and found a brown paper bag under the trash bag containing 3 objects wrapped in black tape. Two were vape devices, and the third contained white crystal-like substance. These items are handed over as evidence to the shift lieutenant. Corporal Tracey reviewed the surveillance footage with the nurse and saw a young man enter the room. The man was neither a driver nor a patient of the clinic. Corporal Tracey, a 25-year veteran, could have been complacent, but instead chose a great example of 2 of our 4 pillars, accountability and professionalism. Due to his situational awareness and professionalism, he prevented contraband and potential narcotics from entering our facility. Give it up for Officer Tracey. There we go. He's bossy. There we go. One second. Let's see. There we go. We have 8 hours leave, a day off for you as well, or most of your day off. And there's a ribbon for your uniform, one of our coins, and we have something at the seat as well. Congratulations. Great job. So I get to hang out upstairs a few minutes before we come down here every time, and I always say, well, tell me your story, a few minutes. And so sitting right there, and Miss Banks says, so I was originally from Rockford. Now, there are only a few people that would have shocked me more than Dr. Inslee yelling out. She's in the back corner of the room, and she's tied to, is there a reason? Well, holy crap. Well, that's even a better part of the story. So I said, really? So when she said, I was sitting upstairs, just like this, I said, so tell me your story. And she goes, I'm from Rockville. He goes, woo! I mean, he's 5 feet away. He grew up 30 miles from her. And so I'm going to Rockford and recruit more people. Wow. That's super cool. Where in the heck is Rockford? I don't even know. Wow. Well, we're doing good. We're plucking some good ones out. So call home and send more. That's well, great. Well, I appreciate the work. Obviously, they've both been here a long time, and it's fun to sit and hear their story of when they came to work here. And in Mr. Tracey's case, he said booking, and I said, where was it then? Because we moved it 2 or 3 times, y'all know, over the years, and it's hard to even, kind of think back on some of that. Some of the young people who have no idea what CJC means, but most of you who grew up or worked around it probably don't have the fondest of memories of the building, but it's part of our history. It's really interesting. I wish I could just clip about 30 seconds of, when I say my life, I don't mean me, but if you could just watch this agency through my eyes for just a few minutes. I mean, we were in this room. I was in this room yesterday morning at this time, and there's 42 people going. They're brand new, or at least new to the training classroom, and they're ready to go do their job, scared to death, don't know what it's going to be. They've been onboarding, think they can handle that. 42 is one of the biggest classes we've ever had. We've had 3 of those in a row. I always tell Evan, I look out my window and see how busy it is. It feels like the mall, and there's all these vehicles coming. So there's a lot of new faces sitting in this room just yesterday, getting ready to go do the full-time work. And then a few hours later, as in last night, I'm sitting in this room speaking to 30-something people from the community who sign up to come and see what you do. And then there's 12 hours later, I'm in here talking to people from Rockford. But what is so important that I want you to remember is the community people have no idea what we do. They sign up to do this. Deshay runs the program. A lot of you participate. I have a secret mole in this class who called me on the way home. And is Veranda in here? There you are. Yeah, I have a secret mole who has my last name in the class. And trust me, they're not easy to please. He and his wife, which I now have to call daughter-in-law because I'm getting used to that term. They flew in from Colorado to get to this class. I said, by God, if you're late, you're in big trouble. But anyway, I just want you to live my life for 1 second. And I know this sounds corny, but I told my son and his wife, they signed up. I didn't ask them to. I had no idea that they signed up for the academy. Deshay has a program where toward the end we get together and she's kind of whittling out the list and all that. So at some point I clearly knew that they're going to be in the class. That wasn't a surprise by the time it was done. But they were here last night for the first time and sit through the program and so forth. And the program last night's just kind of welcoming, and they tour the building and then they kick it off, and I think Veranda was the big first. And I'm the warm-up act for the rock star, right? So I welcome everybody, and there we go. So I'm at home last night, and I know this sounds corny. I said, about 9 o'clock, Ginger and I was sitting there, and the phone rang, and it's my son and his wife, 10 after 9 or whatever. And so I'm just like you would be if your kid just played a game, and you want to know how well they did. That's how I live. I'm sitting there, and the phone rings. That made me feel good that they called, because I was going to be mad if he didn't. But they call, and then any of you who've had sports, or any of you had any, it doesn't matter. You just want to say, did you win? How'd you do, right? And what I'm doing is I'm living through how they feel about you. That's what happens. Because I know you can hit home runs. I know you're going to win the game. But when you want someone else to see your child play, you're just sitting and hanging, hoping everything went well. So they're in the car. I'm sitting on my couch, and I got my speakerphone on, and I'm just sitting there just waiting on. So how did it go? And I don't remember the program the whole night. Like, I knew I was leaving here, and then there was going to be a tour, and I knew that somebody else, I think, with different programs at different times. And so the exact words were, so then we got to learn about pretrial and booking, and this Veranda Smith is amazing. So I wish you could feel, y'all remember when someone said your child hit a home run, or someone said, or you asked them, did you win the game? And so they went into talking about stuff like I didn't know it already. Do you know that people get out without bonding out? No, have no idea. Do you know how many people go through the booking room? No, I have no idea, really. It's amazing, and I wish you could live my life. And that's really what it's all about. And what I say every time in front of these classes that makes it all worthwhile is Deshay runs the program. It was intentional that Deshay wasn't one of us. She didn't grow up here. She'd be biased like me, right? She grew up in the community wanting the community to see Veranda. If I'm totally honest, and Deshay knows this, I didn't know that the community would really care as much about Veranda as I do, right? I didn't know that they would care, because to me, booking is the adrenaline of the whole place, right? But I didn't know that the public could see what I see and what y'all do. And so for years, I kicked the can or kicked Deshay down the road, because I just didn't know that someone would walk in, call their family member, forget me, and say, you don't believe this. And we're gonna get to see it. I mean, it was just, I can't tell you. And so Veranda was the rock star. It does not surprise me in here. But for the community, by the way, the other 32 people don't have my phone number. They'd say the same thing, right? That's not unique. My son and daughter-in-law are hard to please. Trust me, I wouldn't work for them for nothing. Don't do anything in that way. They're not easy. So I just wish. And next week, it'll be whoever else is on the schedule. I don't know who it is. But I know it because I feel it every time we go through these programs, where people who really aren't used to what we're doing get to know the people who do it and walk away going, holy cow. And whether it's helping someone in a truck or preventing drugs from coming in, or just standing in front of people, telling them what you do every day is amazing. And super, super glad that we're doing it. I appreciate everybody who helps put the program together. And like I said, Deshay does a really good job of coordinating it so the community can see what we're really doing. So I hope you can feel some of that as we go. A couple things, and I don't always do well at this, but a couple things have changed that I need to at least mention. I know I see, is that Mr. Braden in here? Pop in here real quick. Y'all know Chaz Braden. He's taking over virtual services for us, but say hello to him. Welcome to the team. I'm always a little afraid to say these things because it may not be true yet. But I just read an email about a captain, I think. I don't know if I can say it yet. So, I think we have a new captain. Do we have a new captain? Okay. Darn it, I want to say it so bad. But we have a lot going on all the time, a lot of movements, a lot of things on the monitor. I hope you'll keep up with that and pat the person on the back who's moving through the agency at whatever the positions are. There's so much movement, and I think that's a good thing. 42 people in the class allow us to make moves. By the way, thank you for writing that, Nanda. You did great writing the thing about Miss Banks. But we have a lot of movement, and I hope you'll stop and say congratulations to those people who are doing that. There's a lot happening all the time. A lot of changes kind of going on around us too, and some of these are kind of down in the weeds, but I do want to kind of let you know that we, by statute, by law, the sheriff's office is over the security of the courthouse. Now, we probably aren't surprised about that. The problem is we have more than one courthouse. And so when you say courthouse, typically people think Birch because of all the criminal courts and all the cases where we're taking inmates to and from. But the old historic courthouse is also our responsibility. For many years, we have had a contract with Allied Security to do that function, basically work the front door and check people coming through. We are in process right now of transitioning that contract or those people over to work for us. And we will have all of the uniform presence that we have in the Birch building now working in the historic building for us. It'll take us probably 60 days to get all that done. Kevin Carroll, who has overseen our contract security for many years, is going to oversee those courthouses which will employ our own uniform personnel over the next several months. We'll transition that. Obviously, you guys have seen the news. There's been some issues with some ridiculous hate group folks who are storming or at least coming to the city and trying to make their presence known. The security of that building is important, and so we're going to make some upgrades and get ready, I think, with our own uniform staff. And so Kevin and Kyle and Scotty and Chief Raines are going to put the program together. In the next 60 days, we'll be ready to go. We'll have a bunch of stuff coming out about that as we go. I see Mr. Harrison. He's in a new role too. I want to congratulate you taking on in the. Thank you for being here. We could never trick him into taking these jobs, and we finally tricked him. So be a fantastic addition to us. I'm always nervous, like I'm not supposed to say some of this stuff yet, but I think we have somebody leaving your division. Do we have someone leaving your division, Mr. Cobb?
Not that I know.
Okay, good. You didn't know that Mr. Kane is going to run the, no, he didn't know it either. I feel like we're playing tricks here. See, I need to read what's out, what's not. I'm just trying to make it fair. So anyway, but a lot happening, a lot going on, and I hope, like I said, that the core we've been focused on for 3 years is trying to hire more people so we can get everything going on gosh, we don't have time to do it. Something happened this week. DDC staff know this, and Chief Joyner I know, and corrections probably know it, but pretty impactful situation. We had a female officer working in the unit in DDC. At some point, she gets choked, and she's working the post by herself, and you can see her start to struggle, and at some point, there's an inmate out. Another inmate was cleaning, and so one thing leads to the other. She then kind of falls and then just starts waving because she can't talk, obviously. One of the inmates drops, I think it's a mop bucket or something, and then goes and literally does the Heimlich maneuver to dislodge this from her, which was fantastic. And you would think, and we would hope, that that was the end of the story. The problem then was, at some point, she loses consciousness. I don't know why. There's some medical concerns, obviously. But once this dislodges and she stands up and seems to be okay, there's a few more inmates that are now gathered around to see, and then she basically collapses or at least falls, not on the ground, but forward. It's a pretty amazing sight. There's not another officer in the unit, and there's 4 or 5 orange uniforms. One of those has just saved her from choking, and now 3 or 4 people are coming to kind of check on her. And the next thing you notice is when she collapses, one of the inmates grabs the radio and calls for help. The next thing you see is several of the inmates waving the staff in, and of course, many of the officers respond. My understanding is she's going to be fine. It's, you know, and I say this to you because you do this for a living, right? This is not to sensationalize anything, but the public would also want to know. I think 2 of these people were charged with murder. Others are serving different sentences. That doesn't matter to me. It shouldn't matter to you. The point I would want them to understand is there's humanity somewhere. And so there's all sorts of things going on there, and you may have made a really bad decision that brought you here. We don't judge that, right? This woman, officer of ours, is probably alive because of that. So we're gonna try to make sure that she's okay, and try to make sure that the people who did, I think, did something pretty miraculous, also get some recognition for that. Kind of hard to explain it, and not for the publicity part of it, but to try to educate the community. I really would love to release the video. It shows you everything. We have this law for some reason because our lawyers think they know everything. They do because we listen to them, but we can't release surveillance video on any event because we've had them before, and the law says that it's surveillance type of video. So if you release this, you got to release everything. And so I'm just I was thinking about, what if I just didn't ask and did it anyway? And then I could beg forgiveness, right? Asking permission is never fun. So I don't know, I'm just hoping it'll slip out somehow. But I want you to know it, and I want you to be able to tell it, but I wish the hard heads out there who don't understand life would see something like that. It's worth watching, and I don't know, a little different situation. So there's a lot going on. Next week in Nashville is ACA. The conference starts, I think, on Wednesday, Thursday, really gets rolling on Friday, Saturday. There's a lot going on with that, and I know many of us will be back and forth across the river, and it's great to have the industry, if you will, in our hometown, and helps us and them. There'll be a lot of vendors and stuff, I'm sure, bouncing around, and I hope many of you get a chance to go see, as I call it, the toys. The convention hall usually has a lot to offer. So there's a lot happening with that. You know, I always say, watch what you're good at, you'll be asked to do it again. Well, or imitation is the best form of, of flattery. And we, I used to joke with Eric. He's no longer the highest paid tour guide in America. It is Lucy. Lucy is the highest paid tour guide, but she's also really, really good at her job. So, but we are often doing this thing, and I think today that Oklahoma City has a whole contingent of people coming here. They've been working for at least over a year or so trying to get, and I looked at the list of people. It's everybody from commissioners to doctors to lawyers. Everybody in the city has come in to look at what we do, not only in the BCC, but the DDC and how the facilities operate. So it doesn't surprise me that everybody wants to see you. That's what it's about, and makes me feel really good to be a part of that. So I'm sure there'll be some more of that coming. What else we have? Chief Hudson, you have anything? Chief Raines? Chief Joyner in here? Chief Joyner's usually hiding. Okay, all right. I thought it was Dr. Inslee yelled out. I thought that was her. She hid a minute ago. So, all right, anybody else? Do we have anything? All right, so Eric, do you think we should have a management meeting today? This is a trick question. Now I'm mad. He did not want me to have a meeting, but I think that's probably the right idea. We'll use Eric's idea and not have a meeting. Let's, I do want to see Chief Dial and Chief Joyner if she's here, and Mr. Conrad, are you here? Yeah. So if you don't mind, why don't y'all head upstairs with me for a few seconds? Have a great rest of your day. We'll skip our meeting.